You guys have so much technology and access to so many things. It's almost hard to choose. Like when it comes to workplace and KV Core and eXp World and all these options, which present do you want to open today? And it's just a cool opportunity.
Hey there, future real estate legends. This is Jason P. Jordan, your go-to global real estate coach and the president and CEO of the Legends International team, brokered by eXp Realty. I just wanted to thank you for being here and welcome you to another episode of the Lit Real Estate Show, where we interview our equity partners at eXp Realty in the USA and from all around the globe. Now I just ask you to please subscribe to my channel by clicking the subscribe button and hitting that bell icon so you never miss another Lit show or any other future videos that I have and launch here on this channel. It also helps the show grow so we can get even more successful eXp Realty agents on to help you. Now, at the same time, if you're a subscriber, you'll get access to new shows before anyone in the world does. If you would, subscribe right now. Thanks so much. So let me formally introduce our guest speaker today, Aaron Neubauer from the Twin Cities, Minnesota area of the United States. He's a mortgage loan officer and area sales manager for the northern region for Success Lending. Aaron has been in the mortgage industry for over 16 years. His local market is the Minnesota Twin Cities Metro and the surrounding areas, but he's also licensed in several other states, and I'm going to have him talk about that in a moment. He's also experienced in many mortgage specialties and is prepared to answer any and all questions that clients tend to throw at him with his experience. Aaron's favorite part of working with home buyers is being able to assist in educating them so that they can make the best decisions for their goals. He strives to be a source of knowledge for all his clients, and he also strives to always be available for their questions. Outside of the office, he loves staying active. He spends a lot of time outdoors and loves to play sports. He's also fond of cooking and volunteering to better other situations. His volunteering includes coaching basketball, and once a year, he does something for the MS Society as well as Make-A-Wish. His mortgage experience goes all the way back from not only Success Lending, but GRA, Envoy Mortgage, Two Stone Financial Credit Union, American Portfolio Mortgage Corporation, Envoy again, and Cambria Mortgage, American Equity Mortgage, and education at the Minnesota State University Mankato. No, it's not the Screaming Eagles. So I'm going to bring on here Aaron, my friend.
Hey,
thank you so much for being here.
Hey, well, I appreciate the opportunity. We're going through a little bit of a cold spell here up here in Minnesota. So we might hit 0 today, but you never know. So for all of you in warm weather climates, I will live vicariously through you for the time being. But appreciate you having me on here.
I think it's a little colder than when we were together.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we were having iced coffee outside, I believe, when we met. So
yeah,
that it's a little different experience now. There will be no ice in the coffee this morning. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, it was great to meet you in person, and you hadn't been at Success Lending very long, I don't think. And Sean Patricus actually had talked to me on a phone call we had, who's the president of Success, and it's like, you got to meet this Aaron guy. So, so before we dive into kind of how you came to success, why don't you take us back to, how you kind of got into the mortgage industry? Did you do anything else coming out of Mankato?
Yeah, so I have a very unique path. When I left school, I didn't quite know what I wanted to do. You go in for sales and marketing, kind of that, umbrella. You get through school type of a thing, you do that. I didn't quite know what to do, but my first job out of college actually was an account executive. So I went with, cool title, didn't even know what I was getting into. And to be perfectly transparent, it took me like a week to realize I was a door-to-door salesman.
Right.
Like I sold coupons door to door, whether we're talking oil changes, pizzas.
Okay.
And we're in Minnesota, right? So it's a 1099. You're working 12 hours a day. You don't sell a coupon. You don't eat type stuff. So I did that actually for 2 years, 2.5 years, and
that's really quick way to get over the whole handling objections, right?
Buddy, and it was all quantifiable data when it comes down to, okay, I know I got to take 95 no's, or doors sent in my face to get XYZ yeses, and you start doing the math, and I didn't realize how it would work and how I could implement that into my future, walks of life.
Right.
But what I did learn very quickly is that talking and engaging with people is easy. Getting people to not only trust me, but just feel relaxed around me. If you walk up to somebody in a suit, at the door, and I've got two people that I'm training with me, the first thing out of my mouth is like, hey, don't worry, I'm not here to pray with you. We're just here to talk about the new pizza joint up the road. It's like, you got to get a laugh out of them.
Right.
Just to set them at ease and like, oh, okay, cool. Otherwise, there's a lot of pushback. So having those, astute, quick one-liners to just set people at ease, and then, certain aspects that you provide you into, a 2 to 5 minute, transaction, was just building people skills and building a work ethic, and putting in a lot of time. And, once that, I got promoted to into a managerial position. And then as a 23-year-old, I had to try and explain to 35, 40-year-olds why it would make sense to move to North Carolina and follow this, pup, and to open up his own office. So that obviously wasn't the play. And I didn't know what I was going to get into after that, but I knew I liked sales. And it's going to sound crazy, but my cousin's boyfriend at the time worked for a mortgage company. He was like, dude, come check this out. I was like, all right, go get a vibe. I had no idea what I was getting into with that. And that's what brought me into American Equity Mortgage. Ray Vincent was a very big outbound calling, lead generated refinance, high volume type of a company at American Equity Mortgage. And I learned how to smile and dial. So instead of knocking on a door, I made phone calls.
What was harder at that time, Aaron? Were you more afraid of the big black beauty phone, or was it knocking on the doors? What did you think was harder to do?
I didn't want to trudge through the snow anymore, so I'll tell you that. So walking door to door wasn't the play for me. And I found talking on the phone was easier because I could talk to more people. I could touch more people. I could only get to maybe 100 houses in a day, when I was, in my early 20s doing that. You get your soles of your shoes are worn down. But that did implement, a work ethic in me and making the calls. And I knew, there was a lot of people in my office that you could tell, they did the phones because I had to. I enjoyed it because I took that same mindset. It was like, okay, I might not get someone to answer here, or I might get pushback because we didn't have the best rates. Let me tell you that. We didn't have low cost. We didn't have the best rates. So there was a strategic sales side of things that, and the verbiage and the wordsmithing that you had to use in those phone calls that really helped me kind of develop and figure out what people were looking for, because there was a lot of trial by error. The very first loan I did, guys, was a 9.9% first, up to 100%. And then we went over equity to 25% above that at 13.99 on a refinance. And I saved the client $2,600 because I got rid of all their credit cards, all their debt that they had, and they just had one payment. So I actually still have the plaque, from 07, from helping, being the consumer sales rep that had the biggest monthly payment savings for a client that year. So I was pretty proud about that. So just for all those people who were tripping out about interest rates and whatnot right now, I don't really want to hear it. We're at 9.9 and 13.99 was the first one I did, and we still saved $2,600. So where there's a will, there's a way. It's just math. So
that's an awesome story, man.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And what a perspective to give people today, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of how I got into things a little bit, I guess I should say. And my naivety allowed me to have a open mind without any preconceived notions, quote unquote, bad traits or anything like that. And I just, figured it out. You just got to, all of a sudden then you get an actual paycheck that isn't coming to $10 per coupon you sell. You actually get a mortgage paycheck. You're like, well, this is ridiculous. We're going to try really hard at this. So that's how that worked.
So take us to now. So you're kind of a journeyman. You've been at several different companies over your 16 plus year career in the industry, and varying different levels as a loan officer, and then moving into management, sales leader, right? So talk to us about the conversation of coming to Success Lending. What made you want to come join this startup company, essentially? Because we were only maybe a year old at the time that you came and joined forces with Success Lending.
Yeah, about 18 months. So you got to remember, guys. So on the mortgage side, it's really similar to being an agent too, right? So although I was at American Equity Mortgage for 3-4 years, I was at Cambria. Cambria was not a refi environment. Cambria is that countertop company that just this is their little baby, write-off mortgage division that they have, and they specified in home purchases. I had never done a home purchase before I moved after 4 years in the business, and I never done a home purchase. So when I moved there, and then it was kind of generating your own book. I went from a lead environment to generating your own book of business. And then when I tried out some other companies, I tried out a credit union, I tried out some other brokerages, and you stay there for 6 months, a year, and rather than just grinding, I was like, I know this isn't the right fit for me, whether it be I don't see eye to eye with vision or how it's structured or whatever the situation was. It just wasn't a good fit. So rather than grinding it out, I was like, okay, we're going to move on. We're going to, cut that, lance that boil and just move forward. And then that's the boil. I like that. Yeah, right. Well, we're trying to be semi-politically correct. We're never going to say anything negative about another company. Okay. But yeah, and then understanding like the difference of how a credit union operates and what works for them, how a bank works, how a broker works, and then how a mortgage company works. So there is a wide variety of options out there. And what then got me back into staying on the mortgage side of things, mortgage banker, mortgage company side of things, was how the structure works, and then slowly getting myself into management. And what brought me to about 2020, I really kind of started focusing in on management, which, looking back, I wish I would have just stayed at originator because things were crazy. But meanwhile, when I get into
2020, right?
Yeah. My God, and then, and I learned, when you're dealing with a team of loan officers, there's always an emergency according to them, right? So there's a lot of management side of things that's going on and understanding which fires to put out and how to help people and how to advance. And when the market is as hot as it was from 2020 to 2022, there was a lot of that. So there wasn't a whole lot of time to breathe. So then I took some time off just to kind of refocus and to find out what I wanted out of my career and my life. And I want to say about 8 months. And I bet you I interviewed at 20 different places. Some I found on my own, some were, sphere referrals. And then I came across, and they're all basically kind of the same with a little different paint job or a little different shiny object here, shiny there. But they all kind of were the same. And then all of a sudden I was, what is a good hook? What is a way where I know there's some longevity in something? And this is, I don't even know if Sean wants me to say this or not, but I'm just going to say it.
You're going to hear it first.
Yeah. I love success lending, but I didn't choose success lending. I chose eXp. Okay. I know what you guys have done. I've seen the stock prices. I know what's happened from 17 to 23. I've seen how that works. I've seen the growth. I know a handful of agents there that spoke to me about it. And I have to say that, tip of the iceberg kind of understanding of how brokerages work, all these different entities work and how they support their agents was a big thing that I learned about eXp, but then also the vision and where it was going. And with the understanding, like I was really excited about, then I found out that you guys owned my company. I was like, okay, well, hold on. Like, this is legal. Okay, they own us. 50% of our profits go back to eXp. So, as long as I semi look presentable, I can read and I'm like, and I can, I'm
Pocket mirror, right?
Right. I'm competent, and I answer people's phone calls. And as long as our pricing is in line with everyone else, why wouldn't they use us?
Exactly.
As an agent, like what would be and I asked her, like, so is there a reason? So then the opportunity of having, access to almost 100,000 agents, it's like, well, what are we doing here? This sounds like an unbelievable. Plus, the gentleman that came on to Minnesota right when the company started, it didn't work out for him. He didn't really have the correct mindset. And they were looking for somebody to open up the North. And I'm like, so you're telling me I get access to like the entire Northern region, but I can lend anywhere? Like, where do I sign? How do we do this? So yeah, that's what brought me in. And week 2, I was talking to Sean and he put me in touch with you, and the rest is history.
Yeah, and so we're talking about Sean Patricus, who's the president of Success Lending, and Aaron, since you have become part of Success Lending, you also added some licensure, right? So you got licensed in North Dakota and in South Dakota as well.
Yeah, so there's a couple cool things. So our licensing works a little funky, guys. There's like a half a dozen states that you have to be within XYZ miles of, like your home office, right? So I didn't want to attach myself to an office because, for example, with how, workplace works, all of a sudden I'll get an email from somebody in California, saying, hey, can you help me out with this? Well, sure I can. I just hop on the MLS, I apply for my license, and I get temporary status. I can complete that loan before the state of California even pushes my license through. So I can basically lend in all 48 states. I can't do Hawaii. I can't do Alaska. I mean, good luck out there anyway. So, but for the most part, yeah, I am currently licensed in about 8 states, California, Arizona, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Florida are kind of the main states. And the reason why I got some of those outliers, because those are, we're snowbirds here. We got to have our retirees got to have somewhere to go in the winter and whatnot. So, but if all of a sudden you've got a client in Texas, let's get it done. Like I'll do the license, not a big deal. So I can lend anywhere, and we've got great loan officers spread out all over the country as well.
So, Aaron, now that you've been there a little while, right, you kind of got your feet wet, and you're not just a loan officer, right? You're actually growing the region, right? So it's your job also to grow the region. So talk a little bit about what you see as the future of Success Lending, and of course the partnership with eXp Realty. You've already talked a little bit about that, but if you could just kind of add a little bit more color.
So in my experiences, I've had a lot of different managers in my life. I've had producing managers that I don't consider them managers. They were just the top producer and took the manager title. Okay. Then there are just straight up non-producing managers who their job was to help navigate the pipeline, help people with marketing and sales and whatnot. So what I wanted to shoot for, and what Success gave me the opportunity to do, was do both. I can't, just because I cooked a burger 15 years ago doesn't mean that I can just run into McDonald's and put together their burgers, right? I still want to be able to know how to make the French fries, know how to make the secret sauce that goes on the burgers and whatnot, because it's not fair to tell a new person how to do things if I don't know how to do it. So it's always good to stay on the front lines doing, 5 or 10 deals a month, because if you're efficient, it doesn't take a whole lot of time. So I can relate to my loan officers, and I want to grow it. So I am focused on those states that I mentioned, primarily in the north. There is a lot of exposure that's happening. When I come to recruit loan officers, I bet you I've interviewed a dozen and have only hired 3. It's a certain cultural fit and a certain personality fit that I'm looking for, because I know how hard agents at eXp work and they grind. They're not looking for handouts, whether they're doing leads or pounding the pavement, however they do it, work in their sphere. I need a loan officer that has that same mindset, and someone that's coming from a bank or these other entities, that might not be a good fit. So I'm actually really relying on you guys as agents, because let's be frank here. If you've been an agent for 30 days, you either know of, currently working with, or have been solicited by a loan officer, right? We're like, we're like ticks. We just find our way to the animal through the woods. So you have to, I understand that. And odds are you already have a relationship with somebody. I'm not even here to deter you from that. But what I'd like to know is what's working for you. What does that loan officer do? And if there's an inkle where you see how much more that we're doing it for you from a value add standpoint, whether it be, we're not going to get into that just yet, but all the different benefits that Success Lending provides, well, let me talk to that loan officer. You can still use John or Jane Smith as your loan officer, but let's get them over to Success Lending. They're already in your market. They may already work out of your office. Let's get them over to Success, and they can reap the benefits of what we provide you. And then that way that you can get more out of them. And in addition, we're not going to get into exact numbers, but there is a referral bonus for any agent that refers me a loan officer and we hire. There's some qualifications, but there is a pretty penny. It equals the sale of a home.
Yep.
So,
we've had several agents on our team actually successfully do that.
So you guys know about it.
So we know about that, right? The loan officer referral program.
No joke. Yeah, it's legit.
And so just so we can wrap up this segment here, Aaron, So anybody who's here live today or is watching this recording in the future, and maybe they're thinking about moving over to Success Lending, right? Or they're they're thinking about joining eXp Realty and wanting to understand the relationship between Success Lending. What would be kind of your final thoughts on helping them understand maybe why they should make the decision to move?
So when you're working in another entity, and this is my perspective as a loan officer about an agent now, okay? There are massive teams out there that you're a part of, right? And when you signed onto that team, the response that I've gotten is like, well, I thought I was going to get really, tutelage from this big shot or this team lead, whatever it is. And I don't quite have that support. And you have to find other ways to compartmentalize that support and find other avenues to make that happen. When it comes to my loan officers, I literally cap them on how many agents they can work with. Okay, because I want to introduce them to a team. I want to have some solo agents. I want them to get as much business as possible. But at the same time, too, what we strive for is the service side of things. There's never a time when we're not available. There's never a day that goes by with a missed phone call. It's always a follow-up. And this does sound like standard operating procedure. And I find it interesting because when I talk to agents at eXp, they're like, so do you answer your phone? I'm like, I don't even understand the question. Isn't that like our job? Isn't that like 101? Like, so you actually close on time? I go, what is happening? Like, who are you working with? Yeah. Like, what? Yeah. Okay. We close on time. We're available on the weekends. We're available in the evenings. We answer our phones. But that's just standard loan officer, requirements.
101. Yeah.
Correct. That's about being a business professional. So, okay, there's that aspect of it. And then all the additional benefits that follow with that, whether it's the marketing piece, whether it's a monetary investment into you as an agent or your team, events, when it comes to recruiting, agent attraction, and we're gonna talk about some of the loan products, which a lot of the agents I talk to, they're glazed over. It's like, just tell me it's good, we'll move forward with it, But there's a lot of cool products that we can provide. And once you have that other loan officer in your life, I almost encourage people. Like I get excited. It's like, oh, you're working with somebody? This is gonna be good, because I know once I get in there, they're gonna start comparing apples to apples. And I know what my apple looks like compared to the other loan officer. We will never lose a deal, guys, when it comes to price or rate for an eXp agent. There are things I can do for you I can't do for Colwell, that I can't do for Berkshire Hathaway, that I can't do for Compass. I won't do. 95% of our closed loans from conception have been eXp agents. And that's all we want to focus on. You are our number one priority.
Awesome. You were just saying also 50% of the profit at Success Lending goes back into what's called revenue share plus. So it's just another way that it's a Success Lending is adding value to the eXp Realty family. And I think it's great that I've had a chance to get to know you, Aaron, and actually meet you in person. And then we've done a lot of calls where we've talked about different marketing concepts and ideas. And so I was really looking forward to having you here on this call today. And thank you for doing the interview.
Absolutely. Well, it's an unbelievable opportunity. And that's honestly, like, I would never have thought about, I'm a face-to-face guy. So that was the one thing that worried me about eXp. I'm like, cloud, I don't know this. I tell you what, man, like, you guys have, it's almost a detriment. You guys have so much technology and access to so many things. It's almost hard to choose. Like when it comes to Workplace and KV Core and eXp World and all these options, which present do you want to open today? It's just a cool opportunity.
Not only that, but like, you had the opportunity to go to the eXp Realty regional rally in Minneapolis. You had a chance to meet our founder, Glenn Sanford. And then you met a good friend of ours, Bob Schneider from the Snyder team in Minnesota, right? And I'm not going to reveal what you shared with me, but you said that meeting him there, and then I had dropped his name to you, that you're working on some cool stuff. So I think that the ability of, we may be cloud-based, but we have the ability with doing live functions and events, and we're the largest agent count brokerage now too. So I mean, it really is unique when we're able to get together live as well.
100%, guys. This is a relationship business and partnership industry. And when you have someone who gives you a warm introduction to somebody because they mean it, it matters. You know, I work with Bob now. I pay a desk fee. I help him towards his marketing budget, and I work out of his office a couple days a week. Him and Jennifer are awesome. Like, they're cool as hell. We vibe well together. And it's just about developing, you know, those type of relationships that you can, you know, nurture and maturate over time. That, you know, I'm not transactional. If you're just looking for a transaction thing, there's a lot of places you can go, because this is going to be, you're in it for the long haul, you know, at these two companies. So it's exciting stuff.
Thank you so much for taking time to do this interview. And we're going to stick around in a moment on our third segment and talk about what products you do have available, and how our agents can actually start working with you and other success lending loan officers if somebody is more local to them. But as you said, you can service pretty much anywhere in the lower 48. So
absolutely. Well, thank you, sir. Get after it.
Hey, I hope you found value in today's legendary interview with our special guest. If you'd like to see more interviews just like this one, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And if you'd like to learn more about today's guest, I placed all their contact information in the description below. Who knows? Maybe they are the mentor you've been looking for. And if you're looking to make a change who you are partnered with in real estate, feel free to book a no-pressure private Zoom call with me. During this private call, I'll share with you how we help real estate agents leverage their language skills and cultural connections to close more transactions both locally and internationally using cutting-edge lead generation technology and marketing techniques. If you want to find yourself in a different situation in 90 days or in a year from now, it's important to find the right partners that can mentor you, have the right strategies, and are willing to give you the roadmap without asking for an additional cut of your commission. With the unique eXp Realty model, it's a collaboration, not competition mentality. The numbers don't lie either. So if you're curious, reach out and set up an appointment. I look forward to meeting you. Feel free to check out the other videos I have here on the channel about eXp Realty too, in case you're just curious. Otherwise, drop your questions or suggestions for upcoming guests in the comments below. Once again, I'm Jason P. Jordan, your go-to global real estate coach with the Legends International team, brokered by eXp Realty. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.